I want to put this video up to just go over a few things over Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I have a feeling that I'll probably ask some questions that I don't answer. I may give some answers, but this story is one of those stories. There's so much symbolism. A lot of the answers may be up for interpretation. So your homework, you'll get to possibly explore some of the stuff I may bring up in this video, and you can of course introduce your own symbolic interpretation as well. I've got a little list here, and I just want to go over some things. First of all, this story is just, I think this is, and I said it in the course news, this is a weird story in a good way. This isn't, it's a story based in tradition as far as storytelling goes, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. And so these are in no really particular order of importance, but the lady we have in here who's not named, the wife that we find out of the Green Knight, who's posing as the lord of the manor that Gawain is staying in, but his wife is never named. She's a really interesting character though, because she shows a lot of aggression, especially sexually. I mean, she's really just throwing herself at Gawain. And the poem makes it clear that she's making it very clear what her intentions are. In fact, she basically says, here's my body, to do with it whatever you will. And Gawain is able to still refuse, and we'll talk about why later. But the power that she shows here as far as her sexual aggression seems unique for the time period and for the picture of the pure woman, the lady of the court. But then we find out at the end that the only reason that the lady has been acting this way towards Gawain is because her husband put her up to it, the Green Knight, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a couple lines in there I tried to reread as far as the passion that she seemed to have for Gawain, if it was really passion or not. And there's a line, let me see if I can find it briefly. I've got my book here. It's not like I have many pages to look over, right? As far as the power that's in the relationship between the lady and her flirtation with Gawain, she basically indicates that Gawain could take whatever he wanted by force, if he wanted to. And just talking about the freedom of the sexuality she uses, this is on page 149. It says, her face and her fair throat freely displayed, her bosom all but bare, and her back as well. So here she's really, this is the third meeting with Gawain, and on the third day it's kind of the most overt. She basically says, look, you tell me, is there another woman that you're interested in? Otherwise, why aren't you picking up on my advances? Here's the line that I was looking for. It says this on the same page, 149. But the lady, as love would allow her no rest, and pursuing ever the purpose that pricked her heart, was awake with dawn. So this is talking about how she woke up early with passion in her heart, and I can't figure out who the passion's for. I don't understand if the lady is actually in love with Gawain, or if she's in love with her husband, which is why she's going through with her husband's orders to try to tempt Gawain. So, and I also wonder, what would she have done if Gawain would have given it and said, okay, yeah, you're giving me your body, I'll take it. Of course, we never get that, but I don't know who her allegiance ultimately is with as far as the love goes. I don't know if the lady's allegiance is with her husband, aka the Green Knight, and she's just doing this show out of obligation for her husband. And I don't know if she really has, I don't know if this line as far as pursuing ever the purpose that pricked her heart, if that pricking is from Gawain. The interesting thing here is we have kind of a metaphorical comparison in the 3 days that Gawain decides to stay after the Christmas feasts. And in the morning, the Green Knight, he goes off on different kinds of hunts. The first day, he goes to hunt deer. The second day, he goes to hunt a boar. And then the third day, he's got the fox with that interesting name, which I'll find in a minute. I'm sure it's kind of a unique name. And they also name the fox, which is interesting. That's Sir Reynard. But anyway, each of the 3 hunts, there's a different kind of hunt that goes on for Gawain. And I think that it's on purpose that we have the Green Knight goes off to do his hunt, and the lady of the house does her own hunt as far as her wooing of Gawain, which is ultimately not successful. Gawain never does completely yield to her, although he does betray a part of himself, which we'll come back to as far as the moral of the story, what the lady taught him about himself. If we look at the hunt paired with the wooing scenes of Gawain in his bedroom chambers that the lady of the house so frequently visited, the first day, like I said, was a deer, specifically a female deer, and I'll try not to break out into song, but I was trying to think what the symbolism could be as far as the animals that the Green Knight chooses to hunt and what they could symbolize. And I'm curious to see if you pick up on the symbolism or if you disagree with it. I won't go into too many details because I want to see what you do in your homework, but I wonder if the deer as far as innocence, the boar as far as brute strength, and think about when they're hunting the boar, the arrows just bounce off his hide, it's so tough. The boar is really hard to bring down, but ultimately they do bring it down. And then the third day you have the fox. So I don't know if these animals all represent different characters or if they represent, kind of what I'm leaning towards is that the animals all represent the same person, and that would be Gawain. And I think that each day's animal may be symbolic of Gawain's role of that day. Specifically the third day, the fox. The way the fox is described as tricky. The fox is said to play tricks on those. Reynard is tricky. Gawain in the third day gives way to trickery. He keeps secrets from the master, even though he agreed to give everything that was given. There's secrets and trickery in that third day. So I'm interested if you think that the animals represent different characters, or if maybe the animals all do represent different aspects of Gawain himself. That may be something you want to look at. Let's see. Oh, there's also the slaughter and dressing scenes after the hunt, which are really gruesome. I was thinking about, man, this is quite a bit of words that are paid to just like cutting up an animal and dressing an animal. And I thought, well, why are they spending so much attention on this? And if you think about it, it's kind of ironic that it's so messy and violent what they're doing to dress these animals, and the purpose of dressing this animal, slaughtering the animal, gutting the animal. Think about it. It talks about pulling out the entrails and cutting off the head. I mean, it just goes through all these really gory details of ultimately getting this animal ready for what? And ultimately the animal is given as a present to Gawain. I don't know if it would really be considered a Christmas present, but it is Christmas time. It's after Christmas that this happened, but still during the celebration before New Year. It just seems a little odd that the contrast of the ferocity and the gruesomeness that the animal is hunted and then gutted, and then the ultimate goal of the object is a gift to Gawain. This to me, it parallels the gruesomeness of in the first scene when we get the Green Knight first shows up at the Christmas feast, the New Year's feast. And they're just having a huge party. They've been partying for days. The Green Knight shows up, and all of a sudden things turn very bloody, but it's blood for the sake of entertainment. This shows kind of the marriage between celebration and gruesomeness and macabre death tied with celebrating life.